Man, we got a unique group of fans. They found a promo code for Houston tickets. And so we're trying to take over that stadium.
Wow.
That promo code, huh, Coach?
Yeah, y'all, I hope so. Tortillas be flying, man.
Light it.
The Triple Option is brought to you by Wendy's. Wake up with Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast. Welcome to another edition of The Triple Option. Mark Ingram, always in rhythm. Rob Stone, Urban Meyer. Urban, is this the background for your new goth podcast that you're debuting next week? Where are you, man?
We'll get into my private time, pal.
That's where we need to do.
Vegas. I'm in Vegas to visit my 3 grandkids. By the way, my grandson had 3 touchdowns last night. And
Let's go.
Running Rebels are 4-0 with another bye week. So life is good in Vegas, man. I'm going to
grandson
Caesars tonight for a little dinner. How about that? Caesars tonight for a little dinner. And then my daughter's 35th birthday. She's going to, Shelly's taking Nikki to the Sphere to a Wizard of Oz or something like that.
Big blessings.
Life's good, man.
Yeah,
Big
the struggle
blessings.
is real for Coach. All right. I'm happy to see that you're happy, Coach. And
Why
I
is
can't
Mark
wait for
tired? Mark, your
Mark's been
energy level
traveling,
on
man.
that beating the drums or whatever. Was
Mark's
Yeah,
banging
I'm-
on those red eyes.
I've been taking body shots, boy, but we good. Red eye back. Got me a quick nap.
You red-eyed?
Yeah, I had a red eye
That's
back.
awful.
Landed at 5:50 a.m.
Hey, and my friend, it's Georgia week. It doesn't matter. Here comes Bama. We got things to do this week.
Don't
brother.
worry.
I
My
don't-
energy gonna be right. You
I
know?
don't worry about you. You got about 10 seconds to boost up your energies. I start hyping up this week's Triple Option. We're going to be joined by Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Dabo discussed in How Does It End? Our version of game shows for head coaches. We offer our picks on the big 3 games this week. We go 3 and out on stadium settings. I've got a curveball for you guys, as always. Thanks for joining us here on the Triple Option. Rate, subscribe over at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, as well as across social media. We are at 3X Option Show. New episodes coming your way every Wednesday on YouTube and wherever it is you find your podcast. Mark, you missed our production call the other day, but Coach right now is asking for producer credits. He's become one of those guys, right? He's not only just a star, he wants to be a producer, and pretty soon he's going to start
Producer
dabbling
pay.
in directing as well. So Coach came up with this idea on for part of Any Given Saturday. All right, you ready for it, Mark?
Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
All right, here's a good one. So I'm going to set the stage for Coach's big idea. All right, so last Saturday, we saw Indiana bury top 10 side Illinois by
Bury them
54
alive.
points. Oh, my gosh. Oklahoma escaped with a controversial win over the Barners.
Good.
Syracuse may have ended Clemson's season, and it's not even October. Texas Tech, again, we're going to talk to their head coach coming up in a moment, showed that they are probably the front runner in the Big 12.
Yes.
Yeah, right? So only really in college football.
Coach came up with that.
No, he's not there yet. Only in college football could we be looking at future ramifications for major programs just 4 weeks into the season. But here we are. We are asking this question. You ready, Mark? How does it end? This is Coach's producing idea. How
Wow.
does
Hey,
it
Chris,
end?
you better be careful. I know you watching the show back there behind the scenes.
Chris
but
Tillop, the producer's back
Yeah.
here. You can, if backstage, you can see the sweat trickling down his
you
brow.
better be careful,
his
man. Sure
Hands
will.
are nervous. He's going to give it up. So Coach came up with How Does It End? How
Lord.
does it end for Bill Belichick? Great question. 73-year-old Bill Belichick being made fun of by Central after Central, University of Central Florida, took it to the Tar Heels. The
Lord.
Heels 2-2, 0-2 versus the Big 12. 5-year, $50 million contract is fully guaranteed for the first 3 years. If Bill wants to leave, he has to pay $1 million. How does it end for North Carolina and Bill Belichick, Coach?
Well, first of all, I can't imagine this has anything to do with money. I'm going to throw that right out. I hear people talk about that. I know Coach pretty well. We used to spend a lot of time together, so I try to take that out of my even mind. Because you're 73 years old, and whether you have 30 million more than what he has, honestly, does it really? I don't know. You know, it wouldn't matter to me. So I became very close with Coach Belichick when he was at Florida. He invited me up. And he impacted my coaching career as much as anybody. The way he ran practice, the meticulous attention to detail, especially on defense. I went home and we put in drills that I learned that day watching practice. And then also the way I recruited. He impacted like no other coach, how I set a standard. Once I went to the Belichick way of selecting or talent acquisition, we made minimal issues in recruiting. So I'm watching this now, and I saw what I saw on the sideline, and I saw John Gruden, what he put out there, and so I don't know. It's 70. He's 73.
73.
I keep saying that, and he's a good 73, but it's 73. Mm-hmm. And I just before we watch this, I wanted to go discuss this. I wanted to do a little homework, and I watched their videotape or some tape on it. They're worse on tape than I thought they would be. And I'm not saying just, because you can say, well, we have really bad players. Okay, you brought in 70 new people.
Right.
But I'm seeing things that just misfits on defense, which for the listener, that means they're not, if as a linebacker takes on a block, he's supposed to send that to the unblocked safety. So if the safety's inside, I'm taking on the blocker with my inside shoulder to force it to him. It's not happening. And then on the offensive side, it's a train wreck. So I don't know. I don't think it ends well. Hate to say that.
How long does
this
it
is not
last,
a money
Coach?
deal to me, though. This has not. When you start saying $10 million, okay, what's taxes? This. Am I really doing this for that? And
money's going to be a factor for some of these other programs we're going to talk about, but I agree with you, not Chapel Hill. So, Coach, he's going to get through this year, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I would say...
I would think one more year at least.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's
up to him. First of all, it's
Correct.
up to him. North Carolina is not going to fire Bill Belichick.
By the way, is North Carolina better with Bill Belichick than they were with Mac Brown? I can answer that for you. No.
Yeah.
No chance. They're worse. They're a laughing stock. They might have won the press conference, but right now they are a joke.
Actually,
they're a
hurts
meme.
my heart to think about.
It's awful. It's sad. And then there's the video of his girlfriend Jordan talking to him pregame on the field. And part of me wants to accept it, but part of me finds it completely unacceptable, particularly with the credentials that this gentleman has accrued through his years. To have, again, just the dichotomy of the image of this young lady in the boots and nestling right up like she's giving him defensive advice or well wishes or like, let's go get him, honey. I believe in you. All of it just didn't feel very football-y. It felt very odd. Yeah. He just doesn't seem to be comfortable in his own skin anymore, which is really problematic. And this is not what Carolina signed up for.
How's it end, Rob? How's it end?
I think it's 2 years and it's done. And then there's been those conversations that he's going to hand it over to his son. And I think Carolina people are going to be like, well, wait, that's not really what we want either. Like this. So guess what? Guess where they're going to be in 2 years?
Same
starting
position.
From scratch.
Yeah.
Starting from scratch. Starting all over when they should have gone after a Cignetti or something like that.
At the end of the day, man, Bill was great because he established a culture. And right now in North Carolina, there is no culture.
Correct.
He got 70 new people, whatever that crazy roster turnover is. And
it's only 4 games. That type of turnover does take time, Mark. Like I understand. But
you have to identify the type of person that fits your culture, the type of person that fits your program. Now, I do trust Bill as a talent evaluator. I do trust Bill as a great head coach because that's what he has been throughout the years. But this is a new day and age in college football, and you have to be able to develop a culture. And I think that will take more than 1 year through 70, new players of transfers in the portal. So I think it takes him another year. We'll see how he feels after another year, for sure. But
well, let's see how he feels after this year.
I don't think he's going to feel great. I don't think he's going to feel great after this year. You just went to UCF, who allegedly is the worst team in the Big 12, allegedly, and they just boat raced you. So,
and by the way, Mark, Fox wanted to be at that game, right? If you had talked to us and our executives in June, July, early August, week 4. Yeah, you know where Big Noon Kickoff is going? You're going to Orlando because we're going to get a piece of that Belichick.
Well, everybody's antennas went up after week 1.
So how's it end, Mark?
They went up and they went down.
Yes.
How's it
And
end,
by the
Mark?
way, you know who's next for North Carolina? They have a bye week, and then it's Clemson. A lot of people had that week in Chapel Hill circled. Oh, Carolina and Clemson, the two highest paid coaches in the ACC. That's where we're, all the energy. Ludacris is going to be there, for crying out loud. And instead, it's a ludicrous setting in Chapel Hill. Coach, I think it ends in 2 years. I think he's got 2 seasons and he's done. That's my guess.
I think Bill going to try and give it a shot. I think he's going to try to get some of his culture in there. I think it's 2 or 3 years, and then I really think after
So I'm not
this
a
year,
math major, but he'll be 75
Yep.
and then 76.
if they not on the
So
brink of a
Cincinnati
playoff
degree right
team
there.
next season in year 2, he's just going to hang
I
it
don't
up
need
and
this.
go fishing.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
can be golfing with Coach Meyer.
There we go. All right. So it's not all bad situations, right? How about 2 guys that are currently crushing it, and 2 of our favorites.
Yep.
Up at Syracuse, Fran Brown, year 2, 43 years old, went 10-3 last year. Off to a 3-1 start, which includes that win at Clemson last week. And that was after he made his team run those post-game win sprints. Buyout to take another job, not publicly available. Remember, former DB coach at Georgia, also has time. He's from Camden, New Jersey, has a lot of time at Temple, Baylor, and Rutgers. Another guy who's crushing it, Curt Cignetti at Indiana, second year, 64 years old, 4-0 start, lost to Notre Dame in round 1 of the college football playoffs last year, so they finished 11-2. His buyout, $13 million to leave before December of 2025, and then drops by $3 million a year annually. Indiana, by the way, this week up 8 spots to number 11. So we've got 2 guys that are crushing it, but they're 2 guys that are separated by 21 years. I think these stories end differently. So, Coach, I'll start with you, and then Mark, you'll go to Cignetti. Coach, how does the Fran Brown situation end?
I think Fran Brown's the hottest coach in college sports. And I think the way he handles his business, I was watching how it's, a big part of the college world is making sure that these guys are set up for life after sport, which is a big part of what we did at Ohio State and Florida. I watched what he was doing. He's all in on these players. He's rugged. He's tough. He says some things that you're like, damn, he really said that. And he, win sprints after it. So he's doing his own little thing, but his thing's working. And I like his presentation. I like the way he looks. I like the way he talks. I like everything about it. If I'm an athletic director, I'm all over that one.
100%.
I am all over that one. I actually went and watched videotape too, some tape on that. Mark, really good.
You talk about Fran Brown.
Really
we just talked about the importance of culture, and he's establishing the culture that he wants and the type of player that he wants in his program. And so he has Syracuse, playing at a high level, and it's basically the culture that he has established. What's not acceptable is you not giving your best and max effort, because you will run after the game. Yep. What's not acceptable is you coming in here asking for money and saying that you're going to go somewhere else. That's not acceptable. We want the players who want to be here. We want the players who want to be great. We want players who want to be great men off the field as well. So he's established a tremendous culture, and Coach Fran is one of the top young and up-and-coming coaches in the college football realm for sure.
All right, so how does it end for Fran Brown? I'll sum it up.
Job.
Enjoy him while you got him, Syracuse.
Bigger
right?
job.
Enjoy him while you got him. All right, now for Coach Cignetti. It's certainly
a little different animal
case.
here.
Yeah, a whole different one down in Bloomington. Mark, I'll start with you. How does it end for Coach Cignetti in Bloomington?
Well, I think it would have to be the right gig for him to ever want to leave Indiana. I think he has a great setup there. I think he's kind of comfortable in Indiana. He's a great talent evaluator. He's a great quarterback evaluator. He knows how to motivate his team to play hard for him. And I think he has kind of a good situation there in Indiana. We talked to him last year about his, situation in Indiana, how he has like some control over the program and all of that. So I think he's happy right there in Bloomington. I think it would take the right head coaching job for him to leave. I don't think he's just leaving for any job. It would have to be one of those blue bloods that come in and pay him handsomely and give him that control that he likes. But Curt Cignetti's just doing a great job in Indiana, turned them around, made the playoff last year in the first year, and he's on his way to do it again right here in the second season. So I think how it ends for him is he doesn't leave unless it's one of them premier blue bloods that come swoop in and give him a handsome compensation for what he's done in Indiana.
You agree, Coach?
I think he stays. I think he turns Indiana. It's incredible to say this, to a playoff team every year. Maybe not make it, but they're in the conversation. You know, I think it says $13 million to leave. And again, now this just comes from an assistant athletic director at a blue blood school that is going through it a little bit, told me that they have no money. There's no longer money in college football. And I'm like, shut up. What are you talking about? And he said that you can't, to fire a coach and to hire someone and pay a $13 million buyout. I mean, I don't think he can do it. I don't, money, there's the thing we have to understand to get your mind right. And I lived in this world. There's always a budget, but there really wasn't. You could really work things, and this coach had a $400,000 buyout. This, and I remember dealing with all that. Now all of a sudden they come to you, and there's a spreadsheet, and it's called revenue and expenses. And when the expenses are far greater than revenue, once again, I'm not a math major or a business guy, but what the shit? I mean, you got a problem. And I don't know if that, I don't.
But his is $13 million. He's not leaving before December 25, so it would be $10 million. And then, so unless one of them, if somebody wanted him, they would go pay $10 million or $7 million, whatever.
But wait, Mark.
Be.
So I get it, but it's not what they're paying. They're going to pay $60 million probably or something, $50 million, because they have to buy out the coach they're firing,
and
they
the
have to buy out the
assistants.
entire coaching staff.
What if it's a vacant coach? You have,
There's no such thing, is there?
Well, I think Cignetti is good in Bloomington. Don't mess with Happy, right, Coach? That's one of the things I've learned the last couple of years, hanging out with you and other coaches. Don't mess with Happy. If it's working, it's working. And he seems to have the formula at Indiana. I think Coach Cignetti stays, and he's still got the zingers, right? Remember at the press conference when he got introduced, Google me, right? I win. Last week when they beat up on Illinois, I thought our DL could whip their OL, and we did. And then we broke their will and just pounded them.
Jeez. And then I went and watched the film.
Yeah.
Remember I told you about North Carolina? It's the opposite Indiana.
Correct.
The run fits are perfect. The blocking schemes are perfect.
Well-coached
There's
team,
never
man.
an unblocked defender in the hole when you're running the ball. They're not running into bad leverage looks. All the coaching things that his staff is really good.
Light it.
Breakfast might be the most important choice you make all day. That's because with Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast, you can mix and match your very own perfect pairing of our delicious morning favorites. With this breakfast deal, the choice is all yours, not someone else's, Mark.
And isn't that how it should be? It's your breakfast after all, not Martha's. She could pick up her own breakfast.
Get your own breakfast, Martha.
This one's all you, Stoner, no matter what you choose. From our sausage biscuit with that grilled breakfast sausage, or the egg and cheese biscuit with cracked grade A egg and melty American cheese on a fluffy buttermilk biscuit. A small size of perfectly seasoned potatoes, or a medium hot coffee to power through the morning. All you gotta do is pick your ideal morning pair.
You really can't lose because you're the one calling the shots. The choice is all yours. Wake up to Wendy's 2 for $3 breakfast just the way you want it. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. No substitutions. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
This college football season is delivering weekly showdowns you don't want to miss. And right now, all customers, every single customer on FanDuel can score a 50% profit boost for this week's big match on campus between Oregon and Penn State, Coach.
Here's how it works. Place a bet on the game, apply your profit boost, and enjoy boosted winnings when your bet hits.
And the best part, you get paid instantly when you win. Use your boost on bets like spreads, over-unders, team props, and so much more. Don't wait. Visit FanDuel.com/triple option to download the app and boost your next bet on this week's marquee game.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Okay, so how about this, Coach? We go back to guys on the struggle bus. Coach Cignetti goes in conference to Wisconsin to take over for Luke Fickell. How do things end for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin and Billy Napier in Florida? Coach Fickell, 52 years old, third year. The numbers have gone down. Started 7-6, then went 5-7 last year. Right now, 2-2 with losses to good teams, by the way, to Alabama, right, and a Maryland team that people aren't talking about. But he's got 5 current ranked teams left on his schedule: at Michigan, Ohio State, at Oregon, at Indiana, Illinois. That doesn't even include Washington and Minnesota. So just a brutal schedule coming up for Luke Fickell and the Badgers. His buyout, $25.4 million. And then Billy Napier, fourth year, 6-7, 5-7, 8-5 is how he started. This year, he's 1-3. Still has Texas A&M, an improved Mississippi State, Georgia, at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. Brutal schedule. His buyout, $21.7 million. So how do we see things ending, Coach, for Luke Fickell at Wisconsin and then Billy Napier at Florida?
Well, the first is close to my heart. Luke was on my staff for several years and one of the best football coaches ever been around. Great family, great everything. I was a little worried when he first went there because Wisconsin is not the same job it was before the 4 teams from the Pac-12 came in. You know, that was and then they moved the West Division to now it's just the best 2. Wisconsin was a very good job, is a very good job, but it's not the same job. And as a result, I think they're in trouble. You know, I think I watched them play. I just don't see any. Remember we did their game last year against Alabama? And I stood on the field, and they always had a Melvin Gordon or an explosive player that, you know, you took your breath away a little bit. Sometimes they had 2. I remember playing when they had Jonathan Taylor and Melvin Gordon. And they would do the fly series with Melvin Gordon, and then they had the downhill with Jonathan Taylor.
And what were those dudes running behind?
Oh, yeah, monsters. I mean,
right?
One of the best offensive lines in college football. So I'm worried about this one, but I'll say this. So again, Wisconsin doesn't have that money. There's no chance they're writing a check for $25 million. It's not happening this year.
I feel like they lost their identity. You know, they tried to become something they weren't. You know, they wanted to be a flashy offense, right, Mark? But when you're Wisconsin, like, do what you do, right? Like, give me a brat, give me a beer, give me some cheese. Okay, yep. Wisconsin, you nail these things. You nail them. So you know what? To your point, Coach, give me a 3-star. Give me a 3-star, 4-star tailback that maybe people aren't talking about.
How's it end, Rob?
And give me big, beefy dudes. It's going to end.
Topic is, how's it end?
I think it's going to end okay for Coach Fickell. I believe in this one, partly because of the money, partly because I think he's going to get back to what made Wisconsin good. And number 3, these injuries that keep happening to their quarterbacks early in the season, whatnot, it's got to end. It's got to stop. That's what's putting them behind the 8 ball immediately. Is listen, their quarterback play was always kind of okay, right? Just okay. But when you go from okay to less than okay, you're in big trouble in the Big Ten. I think there's a little bit more patience for Coach Fickell than there is maybe for Coach Napier right now in Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about what Florida is and what the standard at Florida, just a matter of time here. You know, he kind of got the team back playing hard for him last year, and I agree. But you know, and they played hard last week as well. Some things are out of your control. You know, I think he's a good coach. I think sometimes the results doesn't always, you know, lie on the coach. The players have to play too. But at the end of the day, Florida ain't trying to hear none of that. And I know it's a big buyout, but Florida's one of them programs, man. They want to win. They want results, and that's a results-oriented. Coach knows. Coach was the coach down there in the swamp, and they want results down there. They want championships. They want wins. They want to be able to compete for the playoffs. They want to be able to compete for championships, and right now that's not the case. So Coach, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Coach spoiled him, Mark. That's what it is.
They did. He ain't been right since. He ain't been right since.
Why is that a tough job, Coach? Because I would say look, the facilities to me seem okay. At least the stadium, the Swamp, whatever it is, the environment.
Facilities now are A+.
Are what
A+.
now A+?
Yeah, they're one of the best things. They redid them all.
So
Yep.
the environment at the Swamp, hard to find anything better in college football.
You're in Florida.
And that recruiting swath of territory seems like a no-brainer. So why is that a tough job?
Well, it's a tough job, but a great job. I mean, Ohio State's a tough job. Alabama's a tough job. It's just the expectations are, really
unrealistic sometimes.
but they've also been tempered.
Welcome to college football.
When I took over the
expectations.
Florida Gators, you know what the expectation was, Mark? National championship.
Yes.
That's not it anymore, Florida, right now. No, it's just not. It's let's get to the SEC championship game, which, by the way, I picked Florida. The way they finished, the quarterback talent they had, the players were fighting for their coach. It's not turned out, but it's also, if they started with Penn State's schedule right now, everybody would be saying, man, Florida's doing great. That they didn't. They didn't have that luxury, and it gets even worse. So Billy Napier is caught in a firestorm. How's it end? Again, I don't see him making the change right now with $21 million. And that's going on pretty well documented conversation with people throughout the country that there's, once again, where does it go? Where are you getting that money from? Because the money's already distributed. There's
so
that money's
everybody
accounted
stays.
for.
So everybody stays because you can't pay. That's how the segment ends.
That's the new norm in
That's how the
college
segment
football,
is.
right?
You can't pay the buyout, so everyone stays. You're committed.
Sit
to
there and
your
eat it,
coach.
man. Yeah, you made the hire.
Well, how's it end, Mark?
Sit with
Go.
them.
Hey, they can't pay his buyout, man. It's well documented by, you was the man in Florida, so who am I to argue? Shoot, you said it's well documented, so Billy Napier staying in Florida.
You know what's interesting, Mark, is how he brought that program back last season, right? Like just the woeful start, but he didn't lose the locker room, and we all felt it. He had to feel it. Like, you know what, I can win here. But the fact that he's being asked to do that 2 years in a row, like that's not a story that we want retold. If you're a fan of the Gators,
And
like,
the
wait a second,
reality is
I've been here, I've done that already.
They're 20 and 22.
Losing record.
No bueno. Speaking of no bueno, when we started this second year here on the triple option, one of the programs we thought that was a legit national title contender with a Heisman Trophy quarterback at the helm was Clemson.
Dabo.
Oh boy. It has been tough sledding.
How Dave put Dabo?
Dabo. You're talking Dave Portnoy and how he pronounces Dabo Swinney. So let's hear from Coach. We're going to sound off. This is Dabo Swinney after losing at home to Syracuse on Saturday.
Disappointed, painful. I mean, it hurt. I mean, I'm human. I mean, I'm not a cyborg. I mean, this is my life, man. I mean, I've been here 23 years. I love this place. I give this place the very best I got every single day. Every day. There's never been a day that I haven't given Clemson every ounce of everything I had. So I hurt. I mean, I've invested my life here. And when I don't get the job done, I'm responsible. And I feel the pain. It's not just my pain. I feel everybody's pain. And, but that comes with my job. And I don't run from that at all.
Remember last week, heading into that game, it was a more positive, upbeat, fiery Dabo Swinney, right? Like all I do, I win. Yeah, I win. I'm sorry, I've won 8 of the last 10 ACC championships. That's not enough for you guys. Look at all these national titles. That's not enough for you guys. Yeah, how it went down at home. And again, there was that long weather delay as well, and it didn't provide a bounce back opportunity for Clemson. And that there was an image on the field when I think it was the alma mater was playing where it looked like he was wiping away a tear, and his team is around him. Like this hurts. This is personal. 9 ACC championships, 2 national titles, preseason number 4. And here they are at 1-3 after losses to a good LSU team, an underrated Georgia Tech team, and a Syracuse team that is on the rise. Their schedule coming up is awfully manageable. Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. Yep. There's maybe only one game, Florida State, that they won't be favored.
Right.
I believe in Dabo. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this is just a little bump, and I think he needs to be a little more attack oriented in the transfer portal, which by his standards, Mark, he was last year. I think he brought in like 4 guys. But things need to change. But my book, he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Dabo's not going anywhere, man.
Yeah, Dabo goes when Dabo wants to go. That one's a done deal, and I think he'll adapt a little bit. He's a smart guy. Or at some point, well, he made the comment that he's going to coach for a long, at some point, why won't you go enjoy your life a little bit? So I don't know. That Dabo goes when they're not going to let him go.
Yeah.
Agree, Mark?
Yeah, basically.
Right. That was How Does It End? I can't wait for Coach's next segment that he's going to produce next week, Coach. Start working over there in your
segment, Coach.
Your cemetery basement, Rothskeller down there. I don't know where you're set up. All right, time now for the Deuce Deuce Dog of the Week. Mark, your top player from last week. Oh, let's go to Southern Cal, shall we?
Southern Cal, man. USC is balling right now. They are on a win streak, and it has to do a lot with their quarterback, man. Their quarterback is a beast. Maiava, he is a beast, man. He's very comfortable in this offense. He is wheeling. He is dealing. They had their first, kind of test this season.
Michigan State's better than,
yes.
Most people agree.
Yes.
Yeah, they took care of Michigan State at home, 45-31 Saturday night.
Yep. And he went 20 for 26 with 3 touchdowns, added 2 more rush touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns. And for the season, he's just been terrific. Probably one of the best statistically. I think one of the best statistical quarterbacks in the country. We'll see him up close and in person this week. We go to Champaign, watching him take on Illinois, who just got curb stomped. So hopefully they will be motivated. But Maiava, man, he's a beast. I'm looking forward to watching him.
13 total touchdowns, no interceptions. He leads the nation with 14.1 yards per pass attempt, former UNLV guy. So he feels and he sounds like a good fit for what Lincoln Riley has been wanting at that quarterback position. I mean, we know Caleb won the Heisman, but maybe he wasn't a Lincoln guy the way he played maybe out of the system. But that was your fresh take of the week presented by Wendy's. Wake up with Wendy's breakfast. We want to note that we recorded this episode just literally moments before the firing of Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. Coming up next here, though, on the Triple Option, we're joined by the head coach of the 12th-ranked Red Raiders from Texas Tech, Joey McGuire.
Light it.
Welcome back to the Triple Option. Rob Stone, Urban Meyer, and Deuce Deuce. Mark Ingram here with you. We're joined by the head coach of Texas Tech, Joey McGuire. Coach, A, thank you for joining us. B, congrats on Saturday's big win at Utah. This is your second time on the Triple Option. And when you joined us in the offseason, you asked a question to the guys, and they responded. How did you use those responses?
Yeah, man, I'm going to tell you what. First, thanks for having me, but y'all deserve a lot of credit for Saturday too, because whenever I left, I talked to my leadership council, and I told them exactly what y'all said. Mark started off with talking about how it was a player-run team, and we talk about it, but you've got to have some alpha dogs in there that aren't afraid to voice their opinion. And Skylar Gill-Howard, I could send it to y'all. But he stood up in front of the team the first day of camp, and he said, the players run this locker room. If there's anything that coach needs, he's going to tell me, and we're going to get it done. He said, we cannot be scared to hold each other accountable. And, man, he's an alpha dog. Y'all saw him, man. Number 0. He is a dude. And
Let's go, Coach.
I asked Coach, and he said his teams played best when they were pissed off. And so, man, I pissed our guys off on Saturday. There might have been some things made up a little bit. He said that too. He said, don't be scared of that. And so y'all deserve a lot of credit too of the way we played.
Coach, man, y'all balled out. You got a real football team down there in Lubbock, man, and we're happy for your success. We're happy to see your continued success. And we're happy that you got some alpha dogs and you pissing them boys off. Because they played like it too.
Hey, I'm going to go on record. A pissed off alpha dog, that's a hard one to stop.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let me start here, Coach. First, thanks. And we've covered Iowa State. I've covered Utah. And now we covered you. And your team, I fell in love with Texas Tech last year I've never been to Lubbock. And I never met you. And the energy, the crowd, the way you played, I think it's a gold mine. And we're finding out it is. So I picked Utah in the game, and And I don't care if Utah was playing the Kansas City Chiefs because of my ties with Utah. I was going to pick them. And your fans were, it was in a friendly way. They were killing me. So I'm going to say this, that I stood next to Iowa State, heck of a team. Utah, heck of a team. I on purpose, and I always like to do that. I went and stood next to your group on the sideline. You can say what you want about Ohio State and Penn State and whoever, LSU, who else is up there, Oregon. I stood next to Oregon. Great job putting a team together. That is a good-looking, fast, high-cut, skinny-ankled, veined-up-looking team, man. Yeah. Those guys, that
what do skinny ankles have to do with it, Coach?
That means they can run like hell.
Athletic, man.
You want to stay away from the fat ankles, Mark.
Yeah.
Looking at my ankles.
The cankles.
I'll tell you.
Looking at my ankles.
Coach, first of all, I expect you to pick Utah. I mean, one, congratulations. That was really cool. The presentation, you going into the Hall of Fame, man, that's awesome and much deserved. But I'll tell you, we were geared up for the game. We really were. We knew that that was going to be a big, huge game. We knew how good Utah was, and it was kind of a measuring stick of exactly where we were as a program. And I still, and the players more than anything say this to me. We talk about, man, we've got another gear. And I said that, and 2 or 3 of them said, Coach, no. Like Cole Wisniewski, our safety, he's like, Coach, we got more than another gear. We got 2 or 3 gears that we could play better. And, the big part right now is just cleaning up the penalties, man. That was a louder stadium than I expected. I called a lot of people about it, and they didn't tell me exactly how loud that place was going to be.
Yeah, Coach, man. Y'all, man, I was like, Coach, man, listen, I saw y'all on tape. I believed in y'all. I'm like, I need to see it.
Yeah.
And that D-line was ferocious. They set the line of scrimmage. They were getting turnovers. They were opportunistic. That O-line, y'all ran the ball efficiently and effectively. I'm like, okay, this Texas Tech team is for real. But no, I want to talk about your quarterbacks, man. We know Baron Morton, he had a great start to the year. He had to leave with an injury. But then you had your young quarterback, Will Hammond, come in, and he put some life into this offense, man, with his running ability, with his decision-making. First, any update on Baron Morton? How's our guy doing, and how impressed were you with Will Hammond?
Yeah, Baron's doing great. He was in there this morning. If we played Saturday, he's ready to go. We practiced today, so he'll do a 7-on-7. It's going to be a short practice for the older guys, and then we'll get a bunch of scrimmage reps with the young guys. But I'm going to tell you, man, I was not surprised with Will Hammond. One, Baron had shoulder surgery, so everybody's like, hey, how is the chemistry with Will Hammond coming in? He took every single first team reps this spring with that group that was out there. So it was nothing to him. And then he's a different kid, man. He's kind of got a little nerdy to him that people gravitate to. He's a lot more serious than what an 18 or 19-year-old kid is. What I was really impressed, though, his entire family are BYU grads. And he had probably 40 family members at the game. They've got a lot of people that live in Utah. And how Utah or BYU let him come to Texas Tech, I do not know, because he's got a really strong Mormon faith. And I'm glad they didn't recruit him hard because, man, I'm glad he's a Red Raider. But the kid is really, really special. And I heard Joey Galloway say something, and I understand it. He didn't say anything wrong, but don't worry. We have a 2-year contract with Will Hammond. So anybody that wants to try to come get him, he's already under contract for next year.
I know that's right, because he's a baller, Coach.
So I want to hit you with something here, Coach. I'm just reading that BYU is the only ranked team left on your schedule. So I'm going to set this up. So when I was at Utah, I tried to, once again, piss off a team. How do you do that? I would, Trev Alberts, the AD, he was a commentator at the time, came out and said they don't belong. And I mean, you can imagine, I just milked that for 12 weeks. Every day practice, I see you guys ain't worth the shit. You don't belong at this level. And just pissed off the players. So I would start, once we, my second year when I knew we were good is, I would start the meetings that Monday or Sunday meeting, and I would show a team ranked higher than us. And once again, I said, make sure it's confidential. and I'd say, look at this shit. You tell me that we're not better than this team. And when I was at Ohio State, it was a whole different animal. I would focus on one step at a time because you're already told how great you are. So I'm curious where, you are starting to get the respect you deserve. Last year you did not.
Right.
Now all of a sudden people are starting to talk about Texas Tech the way they should talk about Tech. Have you thought about these next, once again, getting in the mind of a 17, 18, 19-year-old? Is it to piss them off, or are you just one step at a time?
It's going to be a little bit of both. This Houston game is going to be big, especially if they take care of business on Friday. We'll have 2 undefeated teams. I'm hoping they get in the top 25. They should. Willie Fritz is an absolute stud, and all he has done is turn programs around. But it'll be a mixture of both. Like right now around the building, we have 1-0, and we usually have the logo marked through of who we're playing. And right now this week with a bye week, it's 1-0, and it just says us, and we got to focus on ourselves and us getting better. But I'll have a mixture of going 1-0 against Houston, but I'll find something that somebody's put out, or I'll make something up to really piss them off, because I totally agree. And what's funny is, like, different teams respond to different things. Coach, this team responds to being pissed off. And it starts with that defensive line. It starts with Skylar and AJ and Lee Hunter and Romello Height and David Bailey. Those guys really respond to that. And so it's good to have that and know that we can push that button.
Coach, last year, there was a lot of talk about Ohio State and all the money they spent, and it was kind of this championship or bust mentality, or at least the conversation that was out there in the national, with the national writers or the media, whoever was covering college football. Obviously, there's a lot of attention at the money that has come into Texas Tech for this season and for next season as well, for sure, and obviously for the foreseeable future. However, I feel like, and this may not be the right word, but I feel like the last couple of days you've been slightly defensive about that narrative that's coming out about Texas Tech, that they're just buying their way into the college football playoff picture. Am I reading that right? And what is your take on this wonderful setup that you now have in Lubbock? I think a lot of people are just downright jealous about it, to be honest.
They hating, Coach.
Yeah. And it's funny because there's not a coach out there that, whether it's a fan base or coaches or administration, that talk about it, but they wouldn't trade places in a second whenever you have the support we have. That's number one. But some of it a little bit, you're right, of being defensive, but the defensive part is to kind of push the buttons of our players, because they see the building as this, just, they're so happy to be a part of this. Jacob Rodriguez in the post game, talked about coming in the building and how happy he is every single day to be a part of this. And so I'm kind of pushing that button of, like, well, everybody else says you're only here because of the money, but I think, I know the team that we just got to paying is paying those 2 tackles a whole lot of money, and they're paying that quarterback a whole lot of money. I mean, it's going to be the same thing every single week of the teams that we're playing. They're going to have guys on their team that are getting paid a whole lot of money. We just happen to have a lot more players that are getting paid overall, with the kids that we brought in, but also the kids that we retained: Jacob Rodriguez, Baron Morton, Ben Roberts, John Curry, a bunch of guys like that, that are Red Raiders from the beginning.
Coach, man, just kudos to you, because you guys are paying the right players, because a lot of programs pay the wrong players, and you end up on the wrong side of things if you pay the wrong players. So you being a talent evaluator and a player developer, shout out to you, because you know what you're doing with your resources. But now, Coach, I got you. One second, Coach Meyer. Man, I'm a big fan of running backs. You had Taj Brooks last year. Your son, Garrett, is the running backs coach. Cameron Dickey, Jacoby Williams, they were toting that rock. What is it like to be coaching with your family, but also have a really damn good running backs coach for your son as well?
Yeah, it's huge. Mama's really happy. I know that. And, my daughter, it's crazy. I'm a Texan. I've never been anywhere else. And I've got a daughter that's a fashion designer in Manhattan, New York. And then my son was with the Carolina Panthers and then with the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And she was like, could you please just bring one of our babies home? And I was like, well, it's probably going to be easier to get Garrett back than Reagan. And so it worked out perfect. And man, he's really intelligent. He's a connector, you know. I mean, he's one of those guys that can really, he believes in relationships, and man, he's got a great relationship in that room with those guys. And we're talented. We knew we were young, but we knew we had a really talented group in that room. And those two are a great combination. I mean, it's almost like one's 185 and one's 215. It's kind of a thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
But Under can run too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got some great speed, and Cam Dickey, but they're both really tough, strong kids. And man, they have got great personalities. They are easy to be around because they love football.
It's awesome.
My last question, Coach, is that are you handling the GM? I know you probably have a GM or a player personnel, or is that somewhere sitting on your desk right now? I used to do, all that crap you have to deal with daily. Is it? Are you just saying you handle it? I'm going to coach the team, or are you handling both?
No, I have a GM. His name's James Blanchard. One of the biggest, people talk about a roster. We brought in 2 brand new coordinators that we hit home runs with, but I was able to keep my GM from going to Notre Dame and USC the year before. So James Blanchard. So whenever I got the job, it was me, my wife, and James Blanchard on Cody Campbell's plane coming out here for the press conference. And James we were at Baylor together. He was a scout in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers, and he handles that. We meet, we met earlier last week and earlier this week, just about numbers and how many high school players we're going to take. And then what does it look like? What do we need in the portal, in January, and just different stuff like that. But he handles it. The number one thing, Coach, that he handles, though, that helps me is I'm not in the room negotiating money, which is a good thing for me because I'm a very emotional person, and it's never going to end in a good way if I'm in that room. So I still get to keep the purity of the coach-player relationship, and I don't have to be in that negotiation. So James, and we've got a personnel department, and my chief of staff helps. So we've got a group of 6 that handle all of that.
Coach McGuire, continue to enjoy your bye week. After that, 7 straight Big 12 contests, 4 of them home, and one of them, the next one at Houston, where apparently there'll be a lot of Red Raiders in attendance. Joey McGuire, head coach at Texas Tech.
Thanks,
Always
Coach.
great to catch up with you, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Bang, bang, bang.
Welcome.
We welcome you back to the Triple Option presented by Wendy's. Rob, Urban, Mark back here with you. Time to go 3 and out. We were in Salt Lake City last week for Utah, Texas Tech, a homecoming for you, Coach, embraced with open arms by the U. What a great crowd that was.
Great.
Forced Texas Tech inside the stadium into 7 false starts. That's the muss. That's typical muss activity, right, for you, the mighty Utah student section. So that got us on this wavelength of what are the 3 toughest stadiums to play in. And I know a lot of it is kind of circumstantial and whatnot, but Coach, we start with you. 3 toughest stadiums to play in.
Yeah, quick honorable mentions, and it's Utah, and then Auburn, Alabama, which it's hard to imagine those guys are honorable mentions, Virginia Tech, and South Carolina. But the 3 toughest, number 1 in order, is Penn State, whiteout, number 1. They choreographed with the students, the whiteout.
It's happening this weekend with Oregon in town.
It's ridiculous, and we'll get to that game in a minute. I think it's a 7-point flip with a veteran team. It's a 7-point flip. With a young team, more than that. That's how big it is. Second, I'm going to go Swamp. I've never been there as a visitor, but I've been there as a home team. When we were cooking a night game against LSU, I remember it was the loudest I've ever heard. And I would tell people it was a jet engine right behind me. I felt it. My clothes would be shaking. The Swamp. And then the third one is LSU at night when, Mark, what do they do that Tiger again? They poke it or something?
Yeah, they get him riled up and he'd
right.
be hitting the fence.
So those are my 3 in order: Penn State, whiteout, Swamp, and LSU.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, your 3 toughest stadiums.
Yeah, I'm going to recycle one from Coach. Obviously, LSU at night. I think that place right there, especially when LSU is LSU. When LSU is good, that place at night is bonkers. They suck that tiger. No, they be going crazy. They be going crazy. If you know, you know what
I know.
I'm talking about.
If you know, you know. I
you know
know.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Then, like you said, man, it's all circumstantial. Went to play South Carolina, and they stuck their foot clean in our ass. Shin too, Stoner. Foot
Shin.
and
They got the shin up there?
Yeah. They curve stomped
That hurts
us,
when
and
that shin hits.
and that place was. They blew the top off of that place, man.
Maybe most underrated stadium in college football, Mark.
I would say so. I would say so, especially when South Carolina is playing good football. Now, obviously, when teams aren't doing well, the stadium isn't what it's supposed to be. But South Carolina right now, they're back. Lenore Sellers, that place is a tough place to play, especially when we went there as the number one team in the country and they beat us. That place, they blew the top off of that place. And then, if I'm gonna do my own stadium, Bryant Denny, there's nothing like Bryant Denny at a night game, especially with the 18-time national champions. You know what I mean? But if I'm gonna exclude my own stadium, I'll say Neyland. I'll say Neyland Stadium, Tennessee, that ugly orange, and all those annoying people. Yeah, I'll say Neyland.
All right, so I'm going to twist mine up. I'm going to hit the 3 other sports that I cover. Coach, producer, Urban, you know the 3 other sports I cover, right?
Soccer and bowling.
Yeah, and college basketball. College basketball. All right, so I'm gonna go with there. So number 1, Mark will appreciate this one. Coach will eventually come around to it. Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, 7,200 feet above sea level, seats 87,500. It is the largest
situated in
stadium
between the mountains, right?
in Latin America. And the cool part about it is they essentially had to build a moat between the stadium seating and the field. So in case people stormed it and rushed it, they would have to climb over a fence and then get dropped into a moat. And then they would have to climb out of the moat and go over another fence to get onto the field. So I think whenever there's a moat involved in a stadium, you're talking next level. You're talking hardcore intimidation. Let's go college basketball. As a Tar Heel, this pains me. Cameron Indoor Stadium.
I've never been there.
I haven't either, but I've seen it. I felt it. I've heard the stories. 9,300 fans. Those Cameron crazies, like right on you. Those images, right, Coach? It literally looks like they're doing the hand waving like inches from your skull. And when that place is going, you can feel it. You can hear it. I just can't even imagine how challenging of an environment that must be if you're on the other side, particularly if that other side is North Carolina and Duke has it going. And number 3, so what's the one sport I haven't hit yet, Coach?
Bowling.
Bowling.
Stop.
I'm going bowling. I had to. Riviera Lanes, Fair Lawn, Ohio, just outside Akron, home typically of the legendary TOC, the Tournament of Champions, standing room only in that facility. Rumors of payoffs to fire marshals. It is the Madison Square Garden of bowling. If you guys are ever in the greater Akron area, let me take you to Riviera Lanes.
They be jumping like that?
Bowlers. The place gets going, man. Old school, a lot of wood, just the crowd just goes back. Like you can't even see, like I don't even know what they're looking at. They're so far back. Pretty cool environment for any sport. All right. Hey, you know what we want? We want more comments. We want to encourage you to fire up some comments. Tell us who has the best list. Tell us who got it right about the stadiums. Tell me how right I got it about Azteca and AMF Riviera Lanes and Fair Lawn. We love to have your comments, and we will start featuring them more and more. Time now for 2-Minute Drill, brought to you by FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/triple option to download the app and take advantage of a 50% profit boost today. All right, I'm going to start things off, guys, with the ranked game where Big Noon Kickoff will be this week. Number 21, USC, 4-0. A pretty comfortable 4 games to open up at number 23, Illinois. Illinois getting pounded by Indiana last week. They now sit at 3-1. USC favored by 6.5, over under 55.5. Illinois. This is not what we expected. Like, I don't think anybody saw this 63-10 result coming from Bloomington, particularly with what's been going on all season long for Illinois up front. They returned all 5 of their starters on the offensive line. That was supposed to be one of their strengths. How about this? They had 3 rushing yards in the first half against Indiana. 3. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Done. They allowed 7 sacks last week. So they have now coughed up 16 sacks. The big question, and Bielema he said it on Saturday night. He's been saying it through the early part of this week. What is our response going to be? He said, normally I don't watch film right after the game, but we had a bus ride back home and he sat and watched it. They flushed through it and flushed it away on Sunday, and now it's all about USC. How their response is going to be at home on homecoming, big noon kickoff there is going to be fascinating. But USC, we just talked about all the sacks that Illinois has given up.
Yep.
Trojans lead the Big Ten with 16 sacks, third in the nation with 6 interceptions. We talked about Jayden Maiava. He's a guy that I think Lincoln Riley has this trust and this faith in, and he's playing Lincoln's system. Talked about the 5 touchdowns he had last night or Saturday night against Michigan State. Trojans, it feels like, Coach, are kind of built more for Big Ten football than they had been in the past. I say Trojans get the win at Illinois and they cover, and people are going to start talking about USC as a legit Big Ten contender. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State. Mark, let's go to you. Alabama, Georgia, the Tide, number 17, 2-1 at number 5. Georgia, who sits at 3-0. Bulldogs, only favored by 2.5, over under 53.5.
This is a real one right here, Stoner. This is a real one. This could be a turning point for the Alabama program right here. We've lost, I think, 5 of our last 6 on the road or neutral sites. So I could be skewed, but basically Alabama has struggled on the road since Coach DeBoer has taken over. And that is a tough thing when you're going into Athens. And
33-game home winning streak.
33 straight wins at home. That's the longest active streak in the FBS. But I'm going to tell you why we're going to be able to get this done, right?
Does it start with Ty? Are you going to tell me why with Ty?
I'm going to tell you why. It does start with Ty, but Ty has been straight balling. He's not the problem. Ty is actually the solution. So
how did you describe Ty Simpson last week in our Big Noon kickoff meetings? Was it electric? You're like, the electric Ty Simpson, and everybody's heads whipped.
Electric, efficient, all of that. No, but he has the highest completion percentage in the country since week 2. 41 of 46, 89% completion rate. But listen, this all starts in the trenches for Alabama. We have to get better on both line of scrimmages. 4th worst rush offense in the SEC. Allowed pressure on 30% of Ty Simpson's dropbacks. So listen, we have to get better at the line of scrimmage. You go into the road, you play these teams that have championship aspirations. You have to be able to control the line of scrimmage. That comes to running the football. That comes to protecting the passer. And we should have a big boost in the rush game with Jam Miller coming back this week. Okay? So that's the good thing on offense. Defensively, got to get better. Versus Florida State, they lost to Florida State. They gave up 31 points and 230 rushing yards to FSU. And that's a problem when you have Georgia coming into town, and they love to run the football. They've ran over 190 yards in 3 straight games, averaging 209 rush yards per game. So that is a problem. Both line of scrimmage for Alabama have to play more dominant, have to control the trenches. But the good thing about it is, like I told you, Ty Simpson is the man. And Georgia defense gave up 41 points and 371 yards in their last game against Tennessee. So, Ty Simpson being efficient.
The electric Ty Simpson.
Put efficient
some respect
Ty Simpson
on his name, Mark.
Jam Miller coming back, boosting the rushing attack. Team Keenan coming back, the alpha dog on the D-line, boosting our defense, our defensive line. I like Alabama and the points. 2.5. You giving Bama 2.5? I like us to go on and cover that and win by a field goal in Athens. We're going to turn this thing around. A tough Georgia team, Gunner, Stockton, Curry, Spark. We own them. 9 of the last 10, we have won that, Coach. We own them. They are our little brother.
All right.
There's going to be no difference in Athens this weekend. Bama, we're going to turn the corner. We're going to get this win. I got Bama minus 2.5 on the road.
No shocker there that Mark is taking
Roll
Alabama.
damn Tie, and I don't give a piss about nothing but the tie.
And with that, we move on to the game of the week. Number 6, Oregon at number 3, Penn State. Whiteout game. Nittany Lions, Coach, favored by 3.5. Over under set at 52.5. It is time, or is it finally time, where James Franklin changes that narrative about Penn State is good but not great and elite.
Yeah, on tape, it's Oregon. Oregon's going to win the game. But then I go back and say Oregon had a schedule where Oklahoma State is normally a challenge. They're awful. I went back and watched that. Northwestern's not good. And Oregon State, that usually is a great test. Oregon State's bad. I mean, real bad when I watched it. Penn State has played probably the worst non-conference schedule that I can remember. So I don't know. Other than the respect I have for that damn whiteout, that's a 7-pointer, man. I'm going to say that Oregon is going to win the game, but it's going to be a walk-off. It's going to be a field goal or a missed field goal by Penn State. I think it's going to be one of the great games of the year in the most difficult environment in college football. But normally you have an idea after you see a team 3-0, 4-0. Penn State, I have no idea. If I was James Franklin and Dan Lanning, right now, Mark, on Tuesday practices, I'm doing as much good on – now make sure you stay up.
Yep.
But you better sharpen that knife because all of a sudden every player that Oregon is going to face wearing that blue and white is going to be much different than they faced all year.
Right.
Other than in practice. And same with Penn State has seen nothing like with the speed they're going to see. So I would right now, and I'm sure they are because you got two really good coaches here. Who's going to win this game? Whoever had the best Tuesday practice.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. And, Coach, I think, if I'm Oregon, I'm not letting those two backs beat me because their rush defense have been kind of skeptical. We saw them against Northwestern, their run defense, and you're going with probably one of the best combinations in the country with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. So if I'm Oregon, I'm trying to slow them down and make Drew Aller beat me. See if he can do that. So I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be a great slate of games this weekend.
Yep. Drew Aller, 626 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 interception against 3 cupcakes. Before we leave, we want to – I'm sorry, did that hurt? We want to do our first ever Jake's Top 12. Coach, explain to us Jake Jarvis' journey and what this Top 12 is, and we will reveal it.
Yeah, Jacob Jarvis is a guy that I met in 2012. He's a young guy that has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, really tough disease. I love this guy. I mean, he lit me up when I saw him. I worked on, I taught him how to throw a pass, and he became part of our family, a part of the Buckeye Nation. He traveled. We got him a national championship ring in 2014. He went on our games. He's a football nut. First of all, he's a genius. That's why I'm buying whatever he's buying, whatever he's selling, I'm buying. And here's his top 12. So we're going to do this every week. Rob, I know you've heard of him. I think you met him.
I absolutely have.
He'll be at our Penn State, Ohio State, Big Noon. I'm going to get him on set with us. But I trust him. I mean, I think he's, It's
a pretty good looking top 12. I don't see a whole lot of complaints.
Yeah. He's got the Ducks kind of low, though.
Yeah. Well, they've got the opportunity this week to go up to 2.
Look at that Penn State. So let's go through Jake's top 12. Love you, Jake. So the Buckeyes, and I know he's a big Buckeye. So
yeah, of course. There's a no-brainer, right?
Miami, number 2. You can't really argue with that right now.
No, I agree.
I like the way they're playing.
I agree.
Offensively, it wasn't great against Florida, but they did what they had to do. Penn State, I don't know. I mean, that's a
Well, no more. Well, no
Penn
more
State
Saturday.
has been sitting at number 3 on everybody's top for the last 2 years.
No, they were at 2 for a while.
Too
Miami
high.
jumped them. Yeah. All right. So LSU at 4, Georgia 5, Oregon 6, FSU at 7, and then down back to the SEC. Texas, A&M, and Oklahoma, 3 SEC schools in a row. Indiana in his top 10. Indiana at 11, and then Tennessee at 12.
I like it,
all right.
Jake.
All right, so we're going to be posting Jake's top 12 on our social handles all season. We'll check in on them from time to time as well. Jake's top 12 is going to get shaken up a little bit this week is my guess. Hey, as always, please follow, subscribe, rate us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcasts, as well as across social media at 3X Option Show. For our producer, Urban Meyer, I'm Rob Stone. He's Mark Ingram. Make sure to leave some questions in as well. We'll answer them on next week's show, and enjoy the college football this weekend.